drilling out the holes for slimline pen. Retract the quill. I always forget to do that. And then slowly advance until sometimes you have to back it out, clear the chamber. Makes a lovely noise. Not all the way through yet. Sometimes you have to back it off, advance it slowly till you feel it start to grab again. Lock it down, advance the quill all the way through. And back it out. I don't know if you can see that, but now I'm just scuffing up the tubes for the drilled out Purple Heart blanks. All right, so now I'm going to start gluing up the tubes to the pen blanks here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Safety first, got to get your gloves on. Trust me, this stuff is quite nasty. I'm using mercury adhesive, thick CA glue. This stuff is works really well, so we're going to go ahead, and then I have an old bottle top thing that I use to hold it for me so I don't get the glue on my hands. So hopefully I'm not in the way here and you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to just put some glue on. Get your blank, stick it in, and you want to twist it so it gets a good, you can get paper towel, with my paper towels. Apparently CA glue will go everywhere. And I gotta get my paper towels. There we go. So just blotting off, just catching what little bit of, and then set it aside and let that cure up. The tubes, I think I just showed you that you gotta scuff it up a little bit so the glue has something to grab onto, because when the tubes are very shiny, because it's shiny. All right, sorry. Just got back from Universal Studios. Spent the whole Easter weekend there, celebrating my son's 14th birthday. And sorry, let me get this into focus here. Just get it in, twist it real good so it gets in there. Clean up any overspill, because this stuff is nasty, like I said. Now on this one I didn't get it in so well, and I think it's already starting to cure up. No, I was able to push it down a little bit. You want it, I don't know if you see it, how it's almost right flush with it. You actually want it more inside. That's why you leave yourself a little bit of room on the length of how long it is. You want a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch or so longer, so you can mill that down and get a nice clean edge. I didn't quite get that one all the way in, but that's no worries there. And then, yeah, I will see you when we start turning them. All right, so now we're on to, it's been a couple of minutes, and we're on to milling. So you got all this excess wood down in there and the tube on both sides. And milling out is, I I should have prepped this. What you got to do to get a good, clean surface to work with. So you get your, I've got this little milling mandrel. There are too many Allen keys around here. So I was working on some bigger pins earlier, so I gotta take this out, which is what cleans the tubes. Go down to my 7mm, which is for the slim line. Tighten that bad boy back up. Let's get it aligned first. Tighten that up. All right. Now this will go down and through the tube. It cleans it out, and then it cuts the wood down to where we get nice flush. And I'll show you that in just a second. Get my drill. All right. Now I don't have no smancy stuff to be able to drill this out very well. So I use my chuck with my pin jaws on it. Works really well for me, especially when I'm doing multiple sets. So I just put it in my chuck, tighten it down. Get it going, like so. It cleans out if there's any glue or anything in there. You want to peck at it so you can see where the tube is. All right, so you can see I've milled it down to where you could just see the tube sitting there. All right, and that's what you want. And you flip it around. Tighten her up. Now see, I got a good grip on this. Stick it in there, get it going. Just like so. You want to be real careful because I did it myself. I went a little too far one time, and when I bent that tube and curled it, and when I went to put the pin together, it didn't work so well. All right, so that's one.
Just a little bit more to go. Just a little bit more to go. There we go. Alright, now we get this on the lathe and we'll start turning it up.
Alright, I've got you kind of precariously set up on a wobbly tripod on my lathe. Hopefully you got a good shot of what's going on, and it's not going to be too awfully wobbly. All right, slight change, but yeah, there we go. All right, so I got my pin mandrel on the lathe. This is a pin mandrel. And I got a pin mandrel saver, which you'll see right here as my live center. This goes into the drive center, and I got some spacers, some cheapy ones that came with this, and then I went out and bought some nicer ones. So we're going to get our first blanks, and we're going to go ahead. I don't know if you noticed, but Purple Heart is extremely purple, very nice color. But when you start working with it, it gets kind of dull, and it actually will look more like a matte brown, light brown color. But you'll see in a little bit, once I start putting some heat back into the wood, it will turn back purple. I don't know what the makeup of it is, but for some reason that's what it does. And it is purple. It is naturally purple. And sometimes you gotta clean off your manual a little bit. I may have gotten some shellac or something on there. Sometimes you just got 1000 grit just to take it off. Okay, little technical difficulty. And you put your other spacer in between to keep the two blanks apart. Like so. Put the other spacer in, and then I put the cheapies on the outside just to give myself a little bit more space. Down, tighten this up just a tad, tighten that down, over, goggles on, the safeties first. Get my cutter. Double check, make sure I'm centered, because this is a carbide cutter. Alright, I am centered. Everything's locked. Speed it up to 0. putting on the final little touches, making sure that they're very, very even with the bushings here, because you don't want it to be too thick. I mean, unless you want that design. I mean, that's the great thing about making pins. You could do it any way you want to. This particular one, I want to make sure that they're nice. Alright, drop that down. Do a suitable sanding. Put that away. Alright. Sorry for the jerkiness, but alright. I don't know. Hi, how you doing? Alright. Where's it at? There it is. Alright. We've got, as you can see, it's still got a light hint of purple, but very, very dull. But we're gonna work on that. Alright, let's put you back in your holder. Again, sorry for the shakiness. Alright, so remove that. Give this a little clean. Hey, the compressor didn't go off. Cool. Alright. Now it's just a matter of going up through the grits. Sandpaper. Starting off at 150. Taking out all the tooling marks, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop you there, and then I'm gonna finish sanding this up through 600, and we'll come right back. Okay. All right, I'm just starting on the 600 grit right now. So give that a little touch up. Make sure that all the tooling, all the scratch marks from the previous sanding's gone. The higher grit you go up, the less time you should have to spend on it, because you're only taking out the previous scratches. Go get with the grain. In between each grit, just to make sure everything's good. All the tool marks are gone. Towel out. This is the fun part. A little bit of denatured alcohol. Clean out all the dust, and voila! Look at the shine on that. This gives you a little preview of what it can look like. I don't know if you got a good visual of that or not, but I'll show you in a little bit. Now it's time to. I like my pins to feel, or my wood pins to feel like wood, to feel like, hey, I'm actually holding a wooden pin. So I like using a friction polish on it and not a CA finish. And mine is a homemade, thanks to Captain Eddie Castellan and his OB Shine Juice. This stuff is excellent, easy to make. Work it in real good. I will put about 4 or 5 coats of this on. Really the heat and the friction that really bring out the shine on this. Couple more coats. Seems just about good. You can see the chatoyance on that. Here in a few minutes, that will start turning purple again. It's already starting to turn purple, and that's a clear shellac lacquer. And shellac and boiled in equal parts shellac, boiled linseed oil, and denatured alcohol. Alright, so let's get back. Alright, so we're back over here, and during everything, my hands get dirty, greasy, oily, all that other stuff. And I don't want all that getting onto my newly turned pen blade. So I make sure that I put gloves on just to make sure that I'm not getting any of that grease and stuff on it. So now it's time to put the pen together. Get our pen kit out. This is what has all the different things in it that needs to be put together. So I like to figure out which one of these blanks are going to be the butt and the tip. And you get the end cap and your clip, put them together, and I want this to go here, like so. And I don't have the fancy dancy pen press, so I've got a clamp. And squeeze that in nice and tight. You can see, I like to give it a couple little squeezes just to make sure that it's in there. Alright, then we get our nib and we figure out I want this side to be the front. And we squeeze it together nice and tight. And if you did everything right, which it looks like I did, between the nib and the wood, there won't be any gaps or spaces or anything like that. It'll look like all one big nice wood. A wood to metal. And with these slim lines, you gotta be real careful not to overpress, because you can break them. You can break the wood. All right, now the fun part. This, you gotta squeeze, there's a little mark. Right there. You gotta put that on the nib part inside here, because this is your working mechanism. This is what makes the pen come out. I think they call it a transmission. So you gotta kind of get it in there by hand as best you can. Line her up. And firm but gently. Dang it. Alright. Firm but gentle. Come on. The other 10 pens I made went really well. This one knows it's being recorded. Firm but gently, you start squeezing that into position, and only up to where that line is. Because trust me, you go too far or too little and the pen either comes out way too far and never goes back inside, or won't come out. There. Perfecto. Now we've got the little decorative ring. Little decorative ring goes right over the transmission. You take your ink refill, put it in, slowly twist it until it connects. And then try your transmission out. You twist it, see how the pen comes out, and it goes back in. Isn't it nice? All right, and then this is where, if you have grain or where you want the clip, with this goes, you want to, with it closed up all the way, kind of look at the different grain. And I think I want it like so, and you just squeeze it on. All right, so now it's off. Twist the pin, and you've got a nice pen. And that is Purple Heart Slimline Pen. Going out to a customer that has ordered 4 wood pens and 2 acrylic pens. 5 more to go. All right. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've learned something. And welcome to my shop. Have a great day.